All right, my interactive three students, let's do this. So some of you have taken my classes already, some of you haven't. Um, Something that's different, like I mentioned in the intro and kickoff video, is that our classes are going to be pretty AI forward this semester. And interactive three, I think, leans in hardest to it. So so I've been at Amazon for a sum total of like almost 12 years. Um, and in the last year, the industry has changed so much for UX design, and the job market has changed as well. Even for my peers, some of who've been laid off or they took sabbaticals and are trying to get back into the market, it is so competitive, and a lot of times it's because of like companies don't have enough money, or they don't have enough money, who knows. But a lot of it can be because of their skill set might be a little bit outdated, and it's because that industry is changing so fast. So I've spent I've spent May, June, July, August, so 4 months, um, really reflecting on what what designers need to really know to be effective and to be attractive to employers, especially as a new hire. So that's why you're going to see a little bit of a difference in the projects that I have this semester compared to previous semesters. So with that said, so this is the syllabus. Sorry, scroll down before I said anything. So this is the syllabus. As always, at the top of the syllabus, my contact information, portfolio. Phone number is for texting if you need like an extension or there's an emergency. If you actually need an extension, you should submit it in the assignment though. But phone number for texting for emergencies. I have office hours twice a week as well. So if you need something, please sign up. Sign up in advance. Sign up for next month, like whatever. You can always cancel the sessions. Better to have it on my calendar and then cancel it later than to need it and then not have it. All right, so I'm going to skip down to the important parts, but please read. Please read. I know every teacher says please read the syllabus. Please read the syllabus. Um, but if you're strapped for time, which I'm sure you are, we're just going to skip to the most important parts. All right, required materials for this class, Figma education. You should already have it, but if not, there's sign up instructions. Make sure you use your school email to get the free license, otherwise, you'll have to pay, and that's not great. Google Gemini is Google's like AI assistant. It's free for students. Um, if you sign up, you need to sign up like by October, but I'm just gonna have you sign up the first week of class. So you should be set for a full year after that. We'll also use other AI tools like ChatGPT, Copilot, which comes with your suite, your Outlook suite for school, Claude, and just like anything else that kind of pops up. Sometimes these tools just pop up in the industry, and we'll learn it together. For interactive 3, something I didn't put here because it's not really like software that you download, um, and we'll only use it intermittently, is Google Stitch. It's their like design brainstorming website. It's super cool. Helps generate like quick mock-ups and designs. So something we're gonna have some assignments around it. It's very cool. We'll also be using Cursor, which is an AI powered like website development tool. We're not really going to learn how to code in the traditional sense, although I could assign some extra credit stuff. Um, I kind of waffle every year on whether or not I'll require coding. It just takes more time than the time that I have with you all. But we're going to use Cursor, which is like this tool that is kind of taking the design industry by storm, to create some like prototypes. They call it vibe coding, which is a very unfortunate phrase in my opinion. But essentially, you're using an AI tool. It's almost like an AI assistant for you while you're like building an app or a website. So we'll play around with that, just so that you can say that you've done it. We'll be using WordPress, of course, again for your portfolio website and for like your discussion submissions. As you probably already know, my goal is to get you jobs with the classes that I teach. And a part of that is having a portfolio that is up to date and active. And instead of using your time designing your portfolio, instead of designing the assignments in my class, I just have folks use WordPress and find like a free layout for now. You can always go and customize it on your own time, but like the look of it is not important for this class for the purposes of like submitting your assignments. I just need like a navigation bar that's set up well enough that I can find all of your assignments. We'll also use open broadcasting software again. It's essentially like a screen recording tool. So it's like what I'm using for recording this video now. You can set up different views. So like here's like the view where I've got my browser, my video. If I switch views, here's the one with just my video. Eventually, like you may want to pull like video that's a mirror of your cell phone so that you can, tap through a demo and kind of narrate it with your face there. But yeah, so we'll use that. It's also free, and it's cross-platform, so you should be able to use both. Um, and then you'll have Adobe Creative Cloud. That already comes free through CAM, so make sure your license is updated, or get that squared away. I'm not assigning things that are specific to Creative Cloud. You may just want to create visuals, or other design assets that you're going to drop into Figma, or Cursor. So, but like there isn't anything specific that I'm assigning to like software and Creative Cloud. And then, as to other software, we're going to see where the industry goes. Again, these tools kind of like pop up just like out of the blue usually. So there may be some things that I interject into class, here and there. But I never want you to get too emotionally tied up with a tool. These change out every few years anyways. So you just got to learn the basics to get through a project. You don't necessarily have to be like an expert level at software. We just want you to practice how to learn and how to pick these tools up quickly rather than becoming like full-on experts in the software. All right. In terms of books and reading, there's going to be some free reads that I have linked here. Those links work. The materials themselves are a little bit dated, but I think the foundations still hold true. So until, if I need to update them, I will, but like for the most part, those readings should be fine. There may be other readings that I also include during the class. A lot of it's like articles, could be podcasts, or like videos to watch. Again, like this part of the industry is moving really fast, so I don't want to lock us into like printed books if they go out of date very quickly. The one book that I am recommending is AI Snake Oil. It's this one. I read it over the summer and it's incredible. And right now there's only hardcover. And there's an audiobook. The ebook and the paperback book isn't going to be ready until September 28th. I don't know why specific. I think it's like formatting, but so you'll need to pick up that book. I've seen it for about $22 hardcover. And if you can buy it anywhere. I work on Amazon. Amazon's just easy for me to show. This isn't like a referral link or anything, so I'm not going to be making money off of it. But you can go to the book detail page and you can choose whichever book that you need. There is a sample. So if you scroll down enough, there's a button underneath like the image of the book. You can click read sample, and then it should take you through the first 30 pages. And I think that's enough to get you by before your book arrives. And I haven't set up the discussions or like assignments that are related to the book yet. There will be some that I sprinkle in there. There isn't a test to the book or anything. I just think a lot of this is foundational for, the job market that you're graduating into. So some of it, you reading it's going to be a little bit on the honor system. We're going to have some discussions around it that are around the themes of it, but not testing to the book. So again, a very good read. I'm making it required. I've read it a few times already because it's so good. Content's a little dense, but I think it'll set you up for success. I also realize that there's just, in general, just a lot of reading that I'll be throwing at you all. You don't have to feel pressured to, like, read every word, like, absorb everything. The exposure kind of is good enough. I think as you reread things when you get more time, maybe after the class is over, or through reinforcements of like articles and videos, you'll be able to like absorb the material a little bit better. So if there's some jargon that you're not as familiar with, you can look it up, but like don't let that slow you down too much while you're trying to complete the reading. And use the powers of skimming, summarization, etc. There's also a website that accompanies his books, um, and they also have like a Substack, which is a kind of like a blog platform where they send out newsletters and stuff. So you can sign up for that too. You probably get the gist of the book. But anyways, good book. The title sounds very inflammatory. I don't think the book is. I don't think it asserts a like very like you know, optimistic or fatalistic view. I think it actually provides a very good balance, and that's actually the objective of the book. All right. In terms of tech, you gotta have a computer to sign on to the online class. Your computer will need a webcam to record presentations. So usually those are built in to the laptop and desktop nowadays. I don't foresee that being much of an issue. You'll need a compatible, smartphone or a tablet because when you're prototyping, you need to be able to see it on the devices. Um, when you make a desktop app or website, look at it, play with it on your desktop. But when you design a mobile app or a tablet app, you're going to actually need it on. You need to see it and be able to like tap through it on those devices. You may also need other hardware or physical items at your discretion. That comes up a little bit later in the big like project you have towards the end of class. There isn't a requirement that you need to buy anything or rent anything. You may just want them for your project, but I leave that completely up to you. All right. So grading breakdown. I think I talked about this in the intro video, but there's assignments, there's critiques and discussions, there's finals, there's extra credit. There's actually a lot of extra credit because I can't fit everything I want you to learn in the time frame that I've got with you. So there's like extra trainings. There's like learning some of the more like advanced Figma stuff or just going through the foundations since some of the materials didn't exist when you took Interactive 1 and 2. There's like attending virtual events or the in-person Colorado Startup Week event. So there's a lot of like opportunities to make up points if you can't get to all the assignments. Extra credits aren't like easy themselves, like they still require work, so pick and choose your battles. Overall, though, if you can do the extra credit, I think it would put you in a great spot, honestly. There's a lot of good like nuggets in there that I just can't make, I can't like squeeze it into like the 17 weeks that we have. All right. And as I said in the kickoff video, the lowest possible passing grade is 74%. Everything's graded on a rubric, so you'll be able to click through and see like if there were point deductions and like the rationale, the reasoning why. As I said in the other video, if you submit your project on time or within like the grace period, or if you let me know that you need an extension in the assignment, then you can still get full points when I go back to grade it. If you don't tell me that you need an extension and the project comes in late, that's when the late policy applies. All right, let's see here. All right, so we'll talk about some of the big projects that you'll be working on. Um, again, these might change just depending on what I see in the industry. I think it'll be stable enough, honestly, between now and the holidays to not change too much, but subject to change. All right. So first off, you're gonna have your portfolio website. You should already have it from your previous classes with me. If you haven't had a previous class with me, then you'll get it set up, and you'll just do this like the first sprint of class just to get it out of the way. Throughout class, there will be blogs and writing assignments. This semester, I'm going to try to, you know, be, I'm going to have you write discussion posts and then essentially copy and paste them into your blog. That way you can have discussions with your classmates, but then you also have like material for your website too. So you're going to like create materials that you post in multiple places, but you'll get graded. Yeah, you'll get credit for both. We're going to be working through an agentic AI design assignment. That is a trendy word nowadays, but we'll go into what that means in a little bit more detail once the time comes. But you're essentially designing agents, so like expert tools to help guide someone through a problem or like help them with a goal or a subject matter. You'll work through on a different assignment, an AI driven product design. So you'll use generative AI to come up with ideas, and then you're going to use generative AI to also design them. So it's almost like you are the orchestrator and you are designing the prompts and the ideas, and the execution is falling in the tools. And that's not to help you plagiarize or anything. That's to help you understand how the technology works and kind of like the value that you bring into it. So in the absence of you like actually crafting the work, what does the orchestration look like? And just getting practice with that. The big project that we have for the last month of class is the Connected UX project and demo. That is when you are designing essentially an ecosystem of digital experiences that hand off to one another. So you'll have an experience that starts on mobile, maybe hands off to a VR headset, then goes to like a desktop site or a tablet app or whatever. You are going to define those. I think I'll have a few like basic requirements, but you're going to get an opportunity to define like what the extra devices are that are not, the basics of like a mobile phone, maybe a desktop or a tablet. And then, projects, again, just like any others, as determined by the needs of class. My goal isn't to overload you, it's just to get you thinking through some of the latest things I'm seeing in the industry. So if something comes up, I might throw an extra credit or like a small like mini assignment and then rework like the grading so that, and the other assignments so you're not overwhelmed. All right. Let's see what else. Late work, we've talked about it already. Anything that's late, please submit by midnight on the first Monday of fall break. That'll give me time to grade during Thanksgiving week. All right, class structure. I already mentioned that sprints are 2 weeks long. So let's go to the schedule, the most fun part. Okay, so the first sprint, first 2 weeks, we're gonna be focused on AI literacy. And I think you've probably learned about AI in other places, but I want to help level the playing field for all the students in my digital design classes. So we're just going to start off with, lectures and some activities just to get you acquainted with AI and what it's capable of, what it's not so great at yet, some of the, the good, the bad, the ugly of AI and so forth. For Sprint 2, we're going to talk about ethics of designing with AI. So, when should you? When shouldn't you? What are the trade offs? Where does the job get outsourced? Where do you become a better designer? Where do your skills erode? Is it good for society? Like, those are kind of the big questions we're going to think about for Sprint 2. For Sprint 3, this is the AI driven product design assignment that I mentioned earlier. So, you're going to use AI end to end. You're going to use it to come up with your ideas. You're going to put those ideas into a tool. That tool is going to design it for you. And you're going to be the human in the loop, making sure it stays on track the entire time. So you will be orchestrator, you'll be designer, but at this point, you're more of like a creative director or design director. You may not actually be the person like moving the pixels on the screen. For Sprint 4, that's our agentic design assignment. So you will be using industry tools to create agents. I know, sounds very obvious. That's also the week of Colorado Startup Week. So it's not the full week, it is Monday through Thursday, um, September 19th, September 15th through the 19th, I think. But the URL, like the website, is loaded into Canvas. Please sign up for that. Please make time to go. There's a lot of like AI talks during this like Colorado Startup Week, and it's such a great opportunity to meet people that are in the industry, start networking for jobs and internships. I think it's going to be great. I'm going to try to attend some of the in-person sessions as well. So let me know, what sessions you sign up for. Maybe we can connect. All right. For Sprint 5, we're actually going to get started on that big project that'll take you through the end of class. So you're going to create that vision of that ecosystem of connected, UX products. Sprint 6, you're going to work on the strategy. So again, Sprint 5 is just like the big picture. Sprint 6 is like the tactical strategy of how these experiences work together. When are they handed off? Where is there parity? So, like similarities or like equal uses of the experience in these devices, and how do they differ based on the kind of device that the experience is being rendered in? That's also the same week as Adobe Max. So they have an in-person conference in Los Angeles, a little expensive, going to take time out, obviously, of your schooling to do. However, they do have a virtual version, and I do encourage that you sign up and like watch some of those videos. Very motivational. I always enjoy it. It gets me pumped up, for all the things that Adobe has up their sleeve. There's the keynote that's really great called I think it's called Adobe Sneaks, and it's essentially just a sneak peek into all of like the new launches for Adobe software. So you're going to be using Adobe software is kind of like evergreen, meaning like it's always there. You're always going to kind of like have it or use it in some way, shape, or form in your career. Um, like some of the other like UI tools, AI tools, they're going to keep changing. But Adobe's been around for a while, and they always come up with some great new features or like cool new programs. So check that out. It's extra credit, much like any of the attendance and recap blogs that you have for Colorado Star Week. Those will also be like extra credit, but I really think that they would be good for you in your career. All right, Sprint 7 is our demo production. So we're not engineers in this class. Like we can't go off and like necessarily code an app or like a full-blown website. You can't like fabricate a physical product that is internet enabled. Maybe some of you can, but like that's not going to be a requirement for this project. You are just going to be, creating the designs and the assets and just enough of them to be able to string it together into a video demonstration of how the product works. So it's almost like a commercial, that helps sell and explain your vision. And then for Sprint 8, you're going to communicate that through a presentation, your video demo, of course, and then a written case study for your website. And Sprint 9 will be career prep. So I've got a few activities to help you prep for internships and jobs, and some things to keep in mind as you're graduating from school. All right, let's see, what else is there? AI policy, yes. Okay, all of this stuff you can kind of like read and skim on your own. But as I mentioned in the kickoff for class, I encourage the use of Gen AI. It'll be required for some of these assignments that you actually use them. Um, do not pass it off as your original work. Of course, don't plagiarize. Um, Nearly impossible to tell when something is like generated by AI or not. Usually the tell is like just a bunch of bullet points, but that's neither here nor there. That's easy to change and update. But like, don't waste your time. Don't waste my time. Don't waste your classmates' time. Like submitting AI stuff as your own. It's cheesy, but you're only cheating yourself out of your education. You're paying for this class, so like to submit plagiarized work just doesn't make sense, especially when especially when I have such flexible policies for submissions and whatnot. And of course, there will always be someone trying to outsource your job to AI anyway, so don't be the first person to do it. All right, just scrolling. Okay, I think those you can just like read and summarize on your own. But let's go to Canvas. So if you've taken classes with me before, you can probably just end here. It's the same format. So yeah, for folks who have not had my class and are kind of new to it, I'm going to scoot down to sprints here. So every sprint will have its own module. I'm not done setting everything up. So like in this video that you may see dates, disregard them for now. I'm still updating them. But you'll see here that I have all the sprints laid out into modules. The module that is live, you can open, and then you'll have access to the agenda. Again, that's the one pager that has all the info that you'll need for those 2 weeks. And then you'll see a series of like assignments and discussion posts. Some of it are just like pages. It's just like information for you. So like, don't let this overwhelm you. Things that are due will have a due date, of course, and tell you the number of points. But yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know. So I'm going to just open up the agenda. I'm not completely done with this. So again, like, don't read don't read the video, read the actual materials when you get there. So yeah, so here in this first agenda, kind of like tell you what the themes are, what the dates are, my note to you, all the reading for this, any of the videos that I need you to watch, if we have any discussions, if we have projects, things like that. So let me go back to the homepage here. Okay, so sprint one is there. I'm going to also try to have sprint two loaded by the time class is up. Don't hold me to it, but I'm going to do my best. I only got a few days left. But you'll see all the sprints laid out. And again, each sprint will have an agenda. That agenda will have all the my note to you, the readings, videos, and then there will be separate like breakouts for assignments and discussion posts. All right, I think that's all there is to it. Go ahead and get started. Take a look at Canvas, look at some of the assignments that are due in the upcoming weeks. Reach out if you have questions. But yeah, I'm super excited about the materials in this class and helping set you all up for great jobs when you graduate. All right, let me know if you have questions. Sign up for office hours. Message me on Canvas if you need anything. Email is last resort. Canvas will send like a push notification to my phone, and I respond faster that way. So, all right, have a great first few weeks of class, and I look forward to seeing the projects and discussions that you submit.